He started with 7 aircraft and a dream that most said was too Nigerian to survive. Today, Air Peace is the largest airline in West and Central Africa, operating a fleet of nearly 40 aircraft, serving over 30 destinations, including London, Sao Paulo, and now, fresh off approval from Brazil's Aviation Authority, direct flights into Brazil itself, cutting travel time from nearly 2 days to just 7 hours.
Air Peace has now been authorized to conduct the much-awaited scheduled flight connectivity between the economic powerhouse of Southern America and the economic powerhouse of Africa, Nigeria.
With Toronto, New York, and Guangzhou next on the runway, Alan Onyema is a lawyer turned aviation titan, a commander of the Order of the Niger, and arguably the most consequential private investor in Nigerian aviation history. When Nigerians were running for their lives in South Africa in 2019, he did not wait for a government directive. He personally funded the evacuation of over 500 citizens, free flights, no invoice, no conditions, and has since answered that call again and again in Sudan, Ukraine, Cote d'Ivoire, and just last week, back again in South Africa. But the man who rescued Nigeria from the skies now faces a rescue of his own, because Nigerian aviation is in free fall. Jet A1 above 3,000 naira per liter, sector output 47.3% in just 1 quarter, and a fare structure so punishing that 77% of every ticket you buy never reaches the airline, swallowed by taxes, levies, and government charges in a country that then wonders why its carriers cannot survive. He has been a shield for this country in every crisis, but who shields the airline? I sat down with a man who taught Nigerian aviation to dream again and is now fighting to make sure that that dream survives. He spoke with rare candor about the battles defining Nigerian aviation and the sacrifices he has made for the love of country. Mr. Alan Onyema, thank you for joining me on the program.
Thank you.
Now, you have built the largest airline in West Africa, and you've survived turbulence that has grounded your competitors. But one war in the Middle East at this moment nearly brought the entire industry to a halt. But you kept flying, Mr. Onyema. How does that happen? And what does it tell us about how dangerously exposed Nigeria really is?
Well, thank you very much. But what is happening to Nigerian aviation is global. It's a global crisis in the aviation industry. It's not just limited to Nigeria alone. Since the advent of the US, Israel, and Iran war, the aviation world has been adversely affected. You could see that airlines have been closing down, shutting down the operations worldwide. Some legacy airlines, some of the biggest airlines in the world, cutting flights, up to 20,000 flights in order to survive because of the rise in cost of Jet A1. That's the fuel we use for our operations. I remember aviation fuel hitherto, before now, the cost of aviation fuel rose by about 30% to 40% from what it used to be. Just because of 30%, airlines are going under abroad. Many of them are struggling to survive. However, in my country, aviation fuel has gone beyond 250%. At the time, it was about 300%. From 900 naira to a liter to at a time at about 3,300. So you do the mathematics, and this is what the Nigerian airline is supposed to grapple with. So you have to actually applaud the resilience of these Nigerian airlines, who are just doing real patriotic services to their nation, yet unsung. No Nigerian airline is smiling now. We've all borrowed, and thanks to the banks that believe in the aviation industry, we all borrowed billions just to buy fuel alone and fly. You just fly for the aviation, for the fuel vendors. You take off to go to Abuja. Fuel used to pay for fuel for about 3 million on a flight of 4 million. Now it's about 12 million, 13 million for the same flight. How many people are you carrying? So when you look at it, the economies of scale, I mean, it doesn't really favor the Nigerian airline. And mind you, these airlines from the Western world get their funding at 3 to 4%, at most 4% interest rate. Mm. Here in Nigeria, we get our funding at about between 29 to 33%. So the Nigerian airline is actually dead on arrival. And many of us, including APs, cut down the number of flights we do in order to save costs.
We know that there's the Dangote refinery, which is the Nigerian saving grace when it comes to, jet fuel, petrol, gas, and all of that. What are they doing to support the aviation industry?
First and foremost, I'm a huge fan of that man, Aliko Dangote. I'm a huge fan of his because, like I've always said, we should look beyond the man, Aliko Dangote. We should look at what that name represents to the average Nigerian and for our nation. I'm ultimately grateful that we have someone like that who has brought to bear a lot in our economy. Dangote doesn't need anything from anybody any longer. He's not looking to make money for himself. What does he need again in life? I think everything he's doing now is for the nation. You can imagine what it could have been if there was no Dangote refinery. In this time of this US-Iran crisis, this country would have been paying for fuel. People would have suffered. So that refinery has come to the rescue of this nation. And in fact, the world, not only Nigeria, because he's exporting too. This is a man that has provided over 500,000 jobs in the polity. You cannot joke with that. I respect him. I want to emulate him. He's my idol, to be honest with you. And coming to aviation fuel, the problem is not Aliko Dangote. The Dangote's fuel still remains through MRS, still remains the cheapest. But it's the chain, the middle men in between. Somebody will leave from Dangote and comes out, says to another person says to another person. Before it comes to the airline, it becomes something else. This is what is happening.
But could there be more support from the Dangote refinery?
First of all, you have to find out from Dangote himself his challenges. Is he getting crude from Nigeria, directly from Nigeria, or he's buying it from agents abroad who the past government sold? I think that we had that the crude had already been sold. Even this present government inherited what was done in the past. So is Dangote buying this crude directly from NNPC or from the Nigerian government, or is he buying it from those the crude had been sold to? That's left for you people to find out. Then you understand what the guy is going through.
But how are you managing? Because last week, IATA said, and I quote, that the toughest place to open an airline today is either Afghanistan or Nigeria. Afghanistan, because it is a disaster, and Nigeria, because it is unbelievably expensive to operate, with 54 taxes, fees, and charges spread across 4 major government agencies in the aviation industry. Now, when the world's most powerful aviation body stands on a global stage and compares your operating environment to a war zone. What does that tell us? And what is your message to the Nigerian government today?
That comment wasn't complimentary of anybody in this country. It wasn't complimentary at all. But we welcome it because over the years, airlines in Nigeria have been crying to governments over time. The problem we have in Nigeria is that since the deregulation of the airline industry in the 80s, early 80s, people have come to look at as airline owners as, oh, making money. If I make business easy for him, this man will make money. No! Aviation is a catalyst of national strategic importance. There's no UAE without Etihad and Emirates. They might not be making money for themselves, but they are doing other things that are engineering the ecosystem to make money for the country. That's what they are doing. Every country does that. They support the airlines. During COVID, America doled out billions of dollars to their airlines. Maybe the least got about, some got $5 billion just to help them to recover. The entire 34 airlines in Nigeria were given 4 billion naira. That is less than $2 million. All the airlines in Nigeria. Some airlines got 8 million naira only. Tell me what you're going to do with that. Mm-hmm. Over 70 airlines have come and gone in this country. Nigeria has the highest mortality rate of airlines worldwide. That's not complimentary. Mm. And we keep on complaining. And nobody is listening to us. Thanks to this government that at least has come in to do this Cape Town thing. The government is trying to establish a leasing company now, thanks to President Tinubu and Festus Keyamo. The man is working around the clock to make that happen. Maybe that will help us also. But the way it is now, if those charges are not reviewed, airlines will continue to crumble in this country. Those charges and taxes, the way things are done in aviation. Look, ICAO, that rules aviation worldwide, the International Civil Aviation Organization, rules that it must be cost recovery. Yeah. It don't use airlines per se to raise revenue for the nation. Airlines are not used to raise revenue directly, but indirectly. They energize the ecosystem for government to make money through tourism, economic integration, and so many other things. Airlines bring those things to bear indirectly. But taxing airlines directly to raise revenue for government is something very, very, very bad. Time has come, and I believe this government will listen. We are seeking an appointment with the president. And we think the president should see us and hear from us. We are patriotic citizens of this country. We appreciate what this government has done for us, but they need to listen more to us and get to know the pain points that are hitting these airlines. If any airline goes down, banks will take a hit. And it creates massive job employment. A lot of people will be thrown into the unemployment market. And of course, you don't know who will be the next armed robber, next suicide bomber, the next kidnapper, and all that. You'll be promoting insecurity the other way. We need to sit down with Mr. President and tell him face to face. We don't want anybody to go between us and him. We want to sit with our minister, who is very progressive, sit down with him, sit down with the president, and tell him the honest truth.
What is the truth?
The truth we have to tell the president is that the 5% passengers, TSC, they charge the airlines. And they will tell you that, oh, it's the passengers that pay it. We refuse to accept. We refuse to accept. If I charge 100,000, NCA will take 5%. If I charge 200,000, NCA will take 5% of 200,000. I didn't set up business with you. That's not how, because aviation itself does not give you 5% gain. But they tell you, oh, it's the passengers that pay it. No, then take it from the passengers. We want Mr. President to set up aviation taxes and charges review committee It is very important so that it doesn't look as if we are trying to fool the government. Let the government select people, technocrats, people from aviation, and then some of us from the airline industry. Raise up a committee of aviation taxes and charges, review committee, to look into these charges that airlines have been crying over time to be responsible for the demise of airlines in this country.
Mr. Onyema, you have been expanding aggressively. You've ventured into London, Guangzhou, Sao Paulo, even, more recently to the Caribbean. And of course, the ambition is undeniable. But last month, one of Nigeria's most successful actress, Funke Akindele, took to social media. She went on X to blast Air Peace. We saw that story go viral. She talked about the fact that Air Peace had left Nigerian passengers stranded, elderly Nigerians in London Gatwick Airport. She claimed from 6:30 in the morning to almost 4 in the afternoon. She also said that they were left with no food, no care, no communication. But Air Peace responded. You said that this incident was caused by a bird strike. But the anger online at the moment was about poor communication. She had come out with her statement before Air Peace came out with the bird strike statement. I'd like for you to tell us what really happened there, because I believe this is the first time you're speaking to a media house after that incident occurred.
Well, I don't want to join issues with our customers. We love our customers, and we don't want to seem as if we are joining issues with them. They say customer is always right.
Customer is always right.
Always right, yeah. We take it, I want to take it from that angle. That I never gave any statement. But, however, what else am I going to say? When the custodian of aviation in Nigeria has spoken on that particular issue, that is the Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Was there a bird strike? Yes. Did the pilot, the captain himself, came out from the cockpit to go, so I don't know the communication we're talking about, went there and addressed passengers himself. When it comes to safety, Air Peace breeds no prisoners. No amount of intimidation, no amount of name calling will make Air Peace take to the skies when we know it is 1%, not 30%, 1% unsafe. Air Peace will never do that. We don't care what name we're called. And that is going for us. Aviation is a small world. Everybody knows who is who in aviation. You don't tell lies in aviation. It will be in your face. The issue of hotel, you cannot undertake to do international operations. No country will give you the permit to land in your country without you first providing evidence of a hotel where you must have paid upfront. The hotel will only be drawing from the money you've paid in case of disruption. Is one of the cardinal requirements. It's not something you can avoid. And the hotel in question is a 5-star hotel that Air Peace has in London. London Gatwick, right there at the airport.
And
London,
you lodged your passengers there?
Oh, we had lodged them there. London.
The passengers on that flight?
Yes, London Hilton Hotel. They were lodged there. Except you say you don't want to go in there. So if some people were waiting for their luggage,
Okay, fine. Can you give us
remember the airport authority has already said that you can't take the luggage immediately because, in London, flights land every minute. So it will be done at a time. They have a window of where to discharge your luggage. We're not talking about Lagos or Owerri and Lagos Akure flight here, where you stand by the side of, if the flight is cancelled, in fact, you sit by the aircraft cargo hold and collect your luggage. No, these are international operations. Not even my staff has access Not every staff of APs in Heathrow or Gatwick has access to the airside. We've operated for 2 years now. Only 2 people were given access to the airside. And the airport authorities have stated that you have to have a window on when they will bring out this luggage. That window will be when flights reduce. Because the same carousel that flights that we are landing, we are going to use, you stayed behind wanting to collect your luggage on the spot, while some other people are going to the hotel. So I don't know what APs had done wrong there. It is not true that we didn't put people in the hotel. People were put in the hotel. People were accommodated in a 5-star hotel for that matter. That video was highly unfortunate. So you cannot use the way we behave over here. You shout everywhere we go and think that that's where things are done. But let me tell you this. Fortunately and unfortunately, Nigerians behave themselves when it comes to foreign airlines. The same Friday this thing happened, an airline from the United States kept Nigerians here for 2 days. No hotel, no anything. Nobody did any video.
A foreign airline in Nigeria?
A foreign airline.
Do you care to share?
No, I don't have to name them. You know, you Google it, you'll see it. But nobody said a word. They went home, no video. 4 days later, another airline from America took off from somewhere in America. 4 hours into the Atlantic Ocean, people saw it, had a technical problem, did another 4 hours back to their base with Nigerians on board, flying for 8 hours of uncertainty. Nobody did a video. Oh, they nearly kill us today. Oh, hey, pastor, that thing when you talk, it don't happen. Once it's a Nigerian airline, this is what you'll be hearing. A Nigerian airline sees ordinary lights, maybe cargo door, showing that it was not properly closed while you were taxiing to go and take off. And they said, oh, we need to turn back. We saw a light. We need to address it before. Everybody will get up from that aircraft. Some will be banging, hey, look at the rickety airline, oh, plane, they went out, God go punish them, God go do this. You know, they start shouting. Then somebody will start calling, Pastor, that thing where you talk, it don't happen. We nearly crashed today. All sorts of emotions. That is unfair to the Nigerian brand. And when it comes to safety, we don't even need Nigeria's validation. We got our validation from stringent authorities. Somebody had actually done a video that CUAPs nearly killed them, that APs was going to land in Asaba. It couldn't land in Asaba and spent 4 hours in the air because it had no fuel. Tell me what he was using to stay for 4 hours. And you know, all sorts of videos are coming out from anywhere. Recently, somebody was trolling APs. Anybody that wanted to make name, is it for content creation at the expense of a brand? Is it when your popularity is waning, you now decide to up it by using APs? You know, that kind of thing, but it's not funny. Yeah, let me tell you, cyberbullying, when you deliberately badmouth a brand, that is cyberbullying, I mean, it's a crime. And we have decided as an entity, no more. We welcome constructive criticism. If you criticize us constructively, that's the feedback for us to improve. We don't claim perfection. However, you cannot peddle falsehood against APs and go scot-free any longer.
So you're going after these people?
Oh, we've gone after some people now. They are cooling off somewhere. We are in court with them on criminal charges, both criminal and civil charges. You can't let go. Because when you damage a brand, it's not Onyema you're damaging. You're damaging the opportunities the airline is creating from the teeming masses of unemployed people of this country.
I'd like to touch on flight delays. I mean, we've seen, a lot of articles written about flight delays. I mean, it's not just peculiar or particular to AirPeace alone. We've seen some of the reasons for the flight delays. Maybe it's, the airport infrastructure or, more recently, the Jet A1 fuel. How are you managing that? Why is it that we see stories about AirPeace in connection with flight delays?
Well, I don't know what they're talking about because flight delays are not synonymous with any airline in particular, like I said the other time. airlines delay flights for a very cogent reason. When you delay a flight, you lose money. When you cancel a flight, it's the airline that you lose a lot. So no airline delays flight or cancels flight for the fun of it. But there are so many things that lead to delays in the country, and we pretend not to know. And when they say epics, like I've just given you a scenario. Things that we didn't do, people say we did. Things that happened to us. If somebody could do a video after a bird strike, that you should be thanking your stars that you didn't take off and die with it, or maybe something happens. If somebody could do a video blaming an airline for a bird strike, what else do you expect? And this is how the name Epis. Of course, Epis generates viewership for everybody. It's the largest airline in the country and in the entire sub-region of West and Central Africa. What do you expect? That's what we are suffering, the big man's syndrome. That's what we are suffering. It's not that Epis... See, you have to think of the percentage of flights we do.
But can you deny that there are no flight delays with Air Peace?
Nobody can deny that.
That's the question.
Nobody can deny that.
Why?
No, I'm coming. That's what I'm addressing. Yeah. Nobody can. I've told you, there are delays, not caused by us. Something must have necessitated the delays. And every airline delays. And let me tell you something. When other airlines delay, you won't hear anything. Both foreign and domestic ones. When it's Air Peace, it's as if people are waiting to, but I don't know what is responsible for it. So you don't compare an airline that is doing about 100 flights a day to the one that is doing 10, 20, 30, 40. It's not the same. Right. They should give it to Air Peace that this airline, we started in 2014. By 2015, our capacity, our equipment has gone rooftop. And we started doing hundreds of flights. Till date, no incident. We should thank God for this airline that has intervened for Nigeria and not bad-mouthing or cooking up things to make it look so bad or whatever. I am not saying we've not disappointed. But of course, sometimes, even our staff, they misbehave sometimes. There are times people drop some perfection. But 97% of the time, the reasons for delays and cancellations are not due to any airline. There are things you can call force majeure.
Mr. Onyema, earlier you mentioned something Nigerians will always remember you for, your service to the nation. In 2019, when, the xenophobic attacks targeted Nigerians in South Africa, you personally funded the evacuation of over 500 Nigerians from South Africa at that time, free of charge, no government invoices, no commitment from the federal government. There were no conditions, and you were greeted on the tarmac with hugs and tears. I personally remember that moment, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians remember that moment, and we're very thankful to you for that singular act back in 2019. Now, 7 years later, history has repeated itself in South Africa, but this time, Air Peace is now operating on a government-funded repatriation, not for free. And for Nigerians watching at this point, they're asking, why did you do it for free at that time? And why not this time?
Thank you very much. I felt the government of South Africa backed their people to do what they were doing then to our people. For love of country, I couldn't take it. All my life, I've actually lived for this nation. I love this nation and its people. I believe in that saying, think of what you can do for your nation and what your nation can do for you. Yeah. It's not about money. You can't go to your grave with your money, right, with your billions. You can't. It's the legacy you leave behind. Yes, I cried when they arrived because of what one woman was saying. The woman was praying for me from afar. When I entered the woman is from the north. He said, my prayer is for this country to be one. You are an Igbo man, and you came. So Nigerians became one. Remember when they got to Oliver Tambo Airport, it dawned on South Africans that evacuation was never a good thing for any country. So they tried to stop them by threatening them that if you want to go, we stamp your passport for 10 years. You'll never be able to. They said, we are going. Stay in your country. Stocks in South Africa fell. I'm a non-violence practitioner. What I did was a non-violence action that could bring down any powerful entity. And that made the stocks in South Africa fall flat. Yes, I did it free of charge. Some people say, oh, he may be doing it for publicity. Go and do your own for publicity. Go and spend your hard-earned money for publicity. Which publicity do I need again? But it's for love of country. I do it to encourage Nigerians to love their country, to stop chasing wealth. On the eve of the 1976 Olympics, Nigeria led a boycott of all African countries. About 42 African countries followed Nigeria to boycott the Olympics of 1976. These Nigerians, very young people, 17 years, 20 years, had trained for 4 years preparatory to that Olympics. Those people would have been made in life. And our football team, the Green Eagles, that qualified to represent Africa also, beat even Canada in the warm-up matches 3-0. They beat England. They would have won gold in 1976, and they could have become signed by professional teams and all that. But Nigeria led a boycott.
Nigeria's Foreign Minister, Bianca Ojy Okpe, hinted that there might be repercussions to these xenophobic attacks against Nigerians. Do you agree?
I totally agree that there should be a stop to foolishness. Every time they do this, and they get the support of their government, I don't understand how all of a sudden South Africa lacked police force, lacked the military, lacked every security agencies that could have stopped these people. How do you explain where people will march into somebody's house, bring you out, questioning you, can I see your papers? You're a foreigner, you have to go back home. You have to go back home. What have they done? The shops they are running, what kind of employment did you provide for him to run a shop? He brought money from Nigeria and opened a shop in your country to help your country and help you. All the best you could have done is to learn from these Nigerians on how to acquire some entrepreneurial skills. These people are very lazy, and themselves and their government try to blame others for their woes and foolishness. And this is happening. The Nigerian government, in fact, I support Adams Oshiomhole, who says that we should retaliate. But the kind of retaliation I want is what we are doing. Let us do non-violence retaliation. I don't want Nigerians to go to the street and attack any South Africans. Nigerians are not like, we love foreigners. Nigerians are not like that. That's not the kind of retaliation I want. I don't want Nigeria to close down MTN or other people. Some Nigerians have shares in those companies. I don't want Nigeria, because after all, those people are employing Nigerians too. I don't want that. The kind of retaliation I want is for Nigerians to boycott South Africa. You know what it means? Boycott South Africa. Don't invest in that country. If they want to invest in our country, let them bring their money and invest. And you determine how they take the money back. That is non-violence action. Boycott South Africa. If you decide to go against me, the only thing I can do to you is to withdraw my support to you. I don't have to support you to use it to finish me. So that's the kind of retaliation I want, and it's most powerful.
Mr. Allen Onyema, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me on the program. You have done well in making Nigeria proud.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time we spent here talking about Nigeria, my nation.